Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to USC Postgame Live here on the Voice of College Football channel. What a nightmare this game was. Washington came to town. We knew to bet the over. We knew that it would be an offensive explosion of fireworks, and we knew the defenses were weak. But I don't think any Trojan could have possibly believed that the USC defense would look as bad, as inept, as weak, and as completely unable to function as they did tonight. We're going to talk to you guys tonight. We're going to talk to LBC right now, who's at the Coliseum. But I will say that tonight for USC, that was a defensive embarrassment. And unfortunately, that has completely marred a heroic offensive showdown tonight for USC. So huge disappointment for the fans. And tonight we're going to talk to you guys about it. But before we talk to you, we've got LBC Trojan, who is live at the Coliseum. LBC, welcome to the show. Rick, you're echoing. Can you turn off whatever's echoing?
Hey, Tony.
Rick, you're echoing?
Can you hear me, Tony?
No, you're echoing.
Okay. I'm having technical difficulties. I'm unmuted, but I can't hear you, Tony.
Okay. Rick is echoing. We're going to mute him. Oh, guys, what an ugly night. We've got LBC Trojan, who's going to be with us live in just a minute. Once again, for those folks who don't know, final score here, that's flipped. It's Washington 52, USC 42. Rick, welcome back.
All right, sorry about that.
Rick, ugly night.
Oh, how many times have we seen this movie before?
Rick, I've never seen them this bad.
Well,
I've not seen a defense. I didn't see a defense this bad under Clay Helton. Rick, you're echoing again. I didn't see a defense this bad under Clay Helton. I didn't see a defense this bad under Paul Hackett. Rick, we need you to stop echoing. I didn't see a defense this bad under any USC coach of my lifetime. Rick, you're echoing, so we got to mute you. So Rick, some technical issue is causing you to echo. So hopefully we'll get that squared away. We'll get Rick back. Oh, how many folks we got in the chat right now? We got a couple hundred of you guys. Well, we're going to want to hear from you while we try to sort out whatever's making Rick echo. Let me here put the we'll put our call-in link on the board here. We'd love to hear from you guys. Tim will be joining us in just a little bit. I think everybody's pretty disappointed as we work through this tonight. But we'd love to hear from you guys. We'd love to hear about what's going on with your thoughts. I love it. Bless and Breaks points out Rick's connection is about as good as our defense. And Will ND is maybe joining us as well. That would be great to have him join us too. So hopefully Will ND will be with us in just a moment. For you guys in the chat, gang, what an ugly night. Oh, we got Will ND and we've got Gixxer Squid.
Hey guys, sorry about the loss, but our offense looked as bad as your defense today.
They did. It was an ugly game for Notre Dame and an ugly game for USC. Gixxer, were you at the game?
I did not go to the game tonight. I apologize.
Be glad. It wasn't pretty.
No, but you know what? I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't call that often, but I'm not surprised. And no. Quite frankly, I don't know if that's more sad or like I wasn't surprised. Like, I mean, Alex Grinch, and I don't want to make this about a person because I respect everybody's role and what we do in our livelihood.
I felt bad for him, honestly.
But that position, I wasn't surprised. I mean, it was literally a battle of who had the ball in the fourth quarter. And I mean, all I could say is that in the world of NIL, if our defensive coordinator had cheese and sold it at the bookstore and said it was Grinch Swiss cheese, I would buy it. Because literally, I don't know what else that guy sells.
Yeah, there's nothing. We got LBC with us.
Hey
Rick,
guys,
can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right.
Yes.
I apologize. I was playing like the Trojan defense. I could not make a play to save my life. Sorry about that. My AirPods had died. My other
It's fine. It's fine. Rick, talk to us
yeah.
about the game.
Oh, well, what do we need to hear? I mean, we've seen this movie before. I've almost threw up about 5 times. This was ridiculous. We've seen it all year long. Again, situational mastery. The end of the first half, when I think it was not a design play, but when Zach Branch was running to the left sideline, towards the USC sideline, and he got stopped and then pitched it back to Caleb Williams, and the pass was to Taj Washington for a touchdown, and we scored with a little bit over 4 minutes left. I said, oh my God, we left too much time on the clock, because this is a defense that is problematic. There's issues. I don't know. What do people in the chat think? What do you think, Tony? Was that a design play, or was that just a kind of shift play that resulted in a flea flicker touchdown?
So the internet believed it was designed.
I'm sorry, what was that? What was that?
The internet believes it was designed. I don't know.
It didn't look designed from where we were sitting. But regardless,
okay. I don't know.
The fact that we're talking about, regardless, the fact that we're talking about it, and there's 4 minutes left in the half, and I was concerned, and people were concerned around me, that tells you how bad our defense is. And then not only do we let them score 1 touchdown, but they scored.
Yeah, it was
Caleb Williams, and I do not fault Caleb Williams, because
Rick, we're losing your audio again, and you're echoing. All right, we've lost Rick's audio, and he is echoing. So, moving on. Guys, where do we go from here?
I mean, obviously, I don't know. Like, do you think that firing Alex Grinch would fix things? Like,
so here's the thing. I made a joke about this on Twitter. I said you could write plays on tarot cards, and mathematically they couldn't do worse, because we don't stop anybody. And by we don't stop anybody, that's not hyperbole. We actually didn't stop them really at all. We had one kind of fluke interception, and they held them to 1 field goal. Yeah. In the entire game. A game full of possessions. I mean, truly, you could just like write an algorithm to randomly pick plays. You could use tarot cards. You could play Old Maid and use that to pick your defensive plays. And you know, again, you can't get worse than statistically letting them score every single time. You can't do worse. Rick, you're talking. We can't hear you, Rick, because you're echoing and having audio issues. We can't. Yeah, I mean, we can't keep doing that. So I don't see how it gets worse. I mean, when you think about it, what could possibly be worse than this? Is that Gixer?
Yeah, sorry about that. So, Tony, quick question.
Yeah.
I think the community's like, we're all in agreement that Grinch respectfully has to go. So maybe it's a little early, but my question is who would be a better replacement? And I hate to even ask that question, because honestly, I deep down feel like any qualified person would be better than what we've seen. But the reason why I asked that question is because I feel like Lincoln Riley is so beholden to Grinch that he's going to be very methodical with whom he picks, because for whatever reason, he wants to make sure that, I don't know, fill in the blank. But yeah, I mean, who would be who would be the next person up?
There's a number of people on the staff. I mean, anybody really, because here's the thing. What we need is change. Like, because it can't get worse than it is now. Again, they scored with 1 fluke interception, they scored every single time. You can't be worse. Rick, you're echoing again. Rick, we're gonna mute you. We need to move you to a different audio where you're not echoing. Yeah, so I mean, I don't know who it would be. You could pick somebody, but it just somebody you need, because the message has to be sent to the players that this is not okay. And that message is clearly not been sent. I don't know how else to send it. You've got to make a change. And sometimes in coaching, you make a change to make a change.
100%. I'm going to sign off, but before I do, I saw a couple things in the chat about Caleb Williams crying and being sad, and honestly, like,
Caleb played his heart out tonight.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a personal moment. But as a fan, selfishly, my question is okay, he leaves, then what happens to the program? I mean, with Lincoln, it was a BOGO, right? You buy one, you get one. And my concern is okay, next year, Caleb leaves and we have the best defensive coordinator in the world, but not disparaging our respective lineup, but we don't have a Caleb Williams in the queue. And I do feel bad for Caleb Williams, honestly. Anyways, I'm going to hop off. Tony, always appreciate you. Love the channel.
We love you, Gixer. Thanks for calling in.
See ya. Bye.
See you later. All right. I think we've lost Rick somehow. Will, what an ugly, ugly night. And to folks trying to tech help Rick, you're actually, you're not right. Just we'll let Rick figure that out. Thank you though for your help. All right. Hey, we got Alex Rea. Alex. Yeah, so your Cal Bears fared about as well as we did tonight.
You're gonna be in for a nice treat next week in Eugene, man. Those guys are.
We're gonna give up 100 points in Eugene, I think.
Here's the thing. A few weeks back, I said Washington is the real deal. And so for them to go into LA and do this tonight was no surprise. And I didn't mention this, but straight up, if you guys couldn't stop us, what made you think you're going to stop Washington? Washington was going to drop a half 100, no problem in LA. So the score doesn't surprise me. But I kind of see now what everybody's saying, how even though Washington beat Oregon still straight up may still be the superior team. Oregon's damn good, and they have a few freaks on offense and also the score today against us. It was actually started off really goofy. It was a monsoon and they turned the ball over. We had a scoop and score. If Oregon really pressed it, they would have scored 70-80 on us easily, but yeah, there you go.
It was a big one.
Yeah. And I don't really want to, if you want me to gripe on Cal, I can do that, but just regarding
Oregon's good.
Well, yeah, but Cal is also we've given up 50 points 4 out of the last 6 games. So it's just bad to worse, however you want to look at it. But with SC, I know everybody's hating on Grinch, but here's my thing with that is when Grinch was the defensive coordinator of Washington State under Leach, right? If I recall. And those defenses were actually fairly solid. And so with what SC has going on now, I don't know if that's a Grinch thing or a Grinch Riley thing. I don't know, because Riley's teams, even at Oklahoma, they were good, but they were a sort of a little finesse. So I don't know what this is.
None of them have
really
been this
bizarre
bad
to me. This is
yeah. Alex, I agree with you, but the thing is sometimes you got to just make a change. I'll give you an example. Lane Kiffin didn't work out at USC when he was there. Sometimes it's timing, sometimes it's circumstance, sometimes it can be any number of things. But no Lane Kiffin team ever played this bad. Lane Kiffin was tarmacked for much less than this display tonight. Lane Kiffin got fired on the tarmac for a much better performance than this defensively.
Do you guys think that part of this is the strength and conditioning program? Like, do you think the defense is just like burnt out? Do you think it's conditioning too?
I'm not qualified to make that call, to be honest. I suspect maybe, but I don't know their data. I don't know their analytics. I don't know their, weight stuff. I don't know I don't know how they even improved over the year from when they came in. And quite honestly, I don't think the Twitter world does either. So I think you're right, Will. That's a very good question, and it's a definite possibility. But I don't know that we know. Hold on, let's see. We got Rick in the car. Let's see if we got audio on Rick. Rick, can you hear us?
I can hear you guys. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. We got you good now.
So I apologize. I've had some technical difficulties.
Don't worry about it. Let's move on from the tech.
Yeah.
Hey, Rick, where do we go from here?
Well, Alex Grinch has to go. I had several friends just saying, can we just get rid of him now? And I don't know if you can hear me on that last one, but the last drive, and we gave up like a 50-yard chunk play down the right sideline, right? I mean, for those who are watching on TV, I hope that guy, number 7, ran right by Alex Grinch. I would love to see the look on that guy's face, but it's like,
he looks very defeated at the end of the game.
Okay, was that like the 5th time that we had a play over 25 yards in this game? My God, it's just ridiculous. I mean, I was celebrating and yelling. We only gave up 3. We didn't give up 7. We only gave up 3. We didn't give up 7. This is a joke. We were so close to being in first place after a win. But that end of the first half, my God, how many times have we seen this? And I don't want to hear Lincoln Riley's press conference. I can already hear about it. We played so hard. We played so tough. And you know what? I'm sorry, but you are not a championship coach. This is your, I think, 24th game as a USC coach. I think our record now is 7-3. You played 14 games last year. I'm sorry, but after 5 years at Oklahoma and 24 games at USC, you have not figured out your defensive woes. I think they scored 52 points tonight, Tony. Is that the correct number?
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's the most we've given up this year.
Yep.
And yeah, you did it again. You had a chance on the national stage to change the narrative. This was the 4th time this year. You had the chance at Colorado. You could not close out the first half without giving up a cheap score. And then Colorado had the ball to open the second half. And we saw what happened in that second half. You had the national stage against Notre Dame, and your offensive line and the turnovers happened. Okay, you had your national stage again in a rematch versus Utah with their 3rd-string quarterback and no Cam Rising, and you choked
pig farmer who worked at Lowe's 6 weeks ago.
You choked again, and you had the national stage one more time with everything to play for and everything in front of you. You win this, you're in first place in the Pac-12, and you failed again miserably because you couldn't manage the clock at the end of the first half, and your defense couldn't make any stops. Just watching it was abysmal. My God, Pete Carroll is like laughing right now. I mean, it's sad because there is no defense and there's going to be no wins in November. We are going to go to Oregon and get boat raced. I already predicted that loss in the offseason. I thought we were going to go 11-1, that being our loss. So Oregon is going to take.
It's going to be embarrassing next week.
Rick, joy. They're going to score 70. It's going to be 70. And Caleb Williams, God bless him. He's a great quarterback, but he can't do everything himself. And people are going to blame him for fumbling that ball. I'm sorry, but when you got the way of the world and you've got to do everything to try to help this team win, I'm sorry. It's bad. And
one fumble is not anything.
The stench is on you, Lincoln Riley. I'm sorry. The stench is on Lincoln Riley because you did nothing about this defense, and it has just shown up every game. And today was cataclysmic. I'm sorry. We're 7-3. Get your sombreros and get your salsa and chips because we're going to El Paso. All right? That's where we're going.
If we're lucky, we may end up in the LA Bowl against Air Force.
And I have family that lives in El Paso. I love you, cousin Marty and Ruben, but ain't no way I'm freaking going to El Paso. No way. No way.
Rick, at this rate, we may be in the LA Bowl, what is it? The LA Bowl presented by Gronk
Jimmy
against
Kimmel.
Air Force.
Jimmy Kimmel, right?
No, I think it's Gronk now.
Gronk now
Oh,
sponsors
No,
the bowl.
it is. Yeah, it's a joke. Hey, is that Alex Rea?
Yep.
It is.
You
Hey,
guys are going to be in
Alex
for a
Rea.
treat next week. Oregon's a
I gotta
mean
introduce
team.
you- I got to introduce you to my friend Brian. He's a Cal fan, and had him on my show last week. And he was talking a little smack at halftime last week. I was like, you know what? You are getting a little ballsy. I don't know if you should be talking like that. You're a Cal fan, and we got lucky. We should have lost that game, but I don't know how we pulled that off. But here we are, and this is who we are. It's ridiculous, but yeah. Hey, I don't even know what to say. It was great to see Darwin Barlow and Raleek Brown.
You missed that.
But when you give Michael Penix all that time in the world, I think we had maybe one sack, but we had no pressure on him in the first half, had no solution. I know there's going to be fans blaming the refs, this, that. No, I'm sorry. The refs are always bad, but you never should put yourself in that position. If you have to blame the refs, that means your team's not good enough and you suck. And guess what? Our team's not good enough and we suck. All right?
You guys know I've literally made cartoons of Duddy, the ref tonight, like burning in hell for his calls. I will say there were not noticeably bad calls tonight. There were penalties we did, and we got called for them. But watching the game, watching the actual calls, it was certainly not determinative, and I honestly don't think there were significantly impactful bad calls. So, kudos to Duddy for doing a better job. But again, no excuses for USC. This was a spectacular performance on offense, but a stunning humiliation on defense for USC.
Yeah. And if this didn't I think there was one play. I had a friend that texted me. This was in the second half. We only had three guys on the line of scrimmage when they ran the ball in for a touchdown. I was told a couple of DBs had creeped up at the line of scrimmage, but the alignment just wasn't there to stuff a run play at the goal line. So there's alignment issues. There was schematic issues. I mean, we've seen it all year, and it hasn't improved, and it's only a matter of time. Lincoln Riley has got to find a new defensive coordinator because we're going into the Big Ten, and you cannot go into the Big Ten this way. I'm sorry. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, and not only that, but again, we knew at the beginning of the season that we might need a change. I don't think they should go into the last two games without a change. They need a spark. They need something. And again, letting the team score every time they touch the ball. One fluke interception, but every time they touch the ball, they scored. So literally, you could just have a contest, maybe people tweet in the plays. It can't be worse than letting them score every time.
And Washington's running back, his name escapes me right now.
I'm joking, by the way, but not really.
Somebody help me out. The Washington running back, I think his name was Dylan.
Just go ahead. What about him?
Oh, he had a career day today. Career day against USC. They could not defend.
Same yards as Penix, I believe.
They could not defend the screen pass across the middle. How many times did we see the little screen pass across the middle go for 15, 20, 22 yards? My God. Please.
Unstoppable.
Even
but Rick, nothing we did was stoppable. We didn't stop anything.
No. And this was game 10 of the year. And we've had issues. I don't want to hear anything about, we have a backloaded schedule. No, make no excuses. You knew what your schedule was. You were bad in game 4. You were bad in game 5. How do you think you were going to improve when you played in game 10 against the number 5 team in the country? Yeah, smoke and mirrors. You kind of did it for a while, but you got exposed at the end of the first half. And
all right, hey, by the way, Rick,
yeah.
we got a super chat from friend of the show, Sergeant Pickles. Sorry, Sergeant Pickles, I just saw this. Hey, Sergeant Pickles, friend of the show. He was on your channel. I think we have to give him a bow down to Washington. Bum, bum, bum. You get an official bow down to Washington, Sergeant Pickles.
Sergeant
you
Pickles,
get a dubs up because your team was good.
Congratulations, Sergeant Pickles. I think we talked about the turnover game because we both said Caleb Williams and Michael Penix were going to go off. It was going to be the defense. And obviously, Washington defense sucks too, but they suck less than we did tonight. And I think I had called for a pick six. Anna, did I call for a pick six?
You did.
Okay, Anna Stevens, my friend, the Stevens are with us right now. We're driving home. I called for a pick six, but we did get an interception deep in our territory. It wasn't a pick six, but we got the turnover. I think we caused 2 turnovers. They caused 1, including a blocked punt. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think, we
did have the blocked punt.
Yes, we had a blocked punt interception.
but that doesn't go to Grinch because we don't have a special teams coach.
No. Exactly.
So that goes to what, the abyss?
So we created opportunities, but at the same time, we could not get a stop on defense, and that was the issue. And bow down, Sergeant Pickles. You guys won. Your defense sucked less than ours. You know what? I'm surprised that you didn't kick our ass more, and because we deserved it. But we had to hang in to the fourth quarter. I lost my voice. This was a complete meltdown, and it sucked. And I'm tired of it. I'm sorry. Am I being honest here? Tony, am I being honest?
You're being very honest. I mean, we all are. I mean, I literally, again, I don't think that Alex Grinch should finish the night working for USC.
No, and you know what? We've put on Band-Aids the whole year. I've been supportive of USC. I've questioned Lincoln Riley. I've questioned him since the Utah game of last year. I've questioned him at the Colorado game. I questioned him with Utah. And some people keep on defending and wanting to blast Alex Grinch, but nobody's pointing the finger at Lincoln Riley. He's culpable, all right? Because he's the CEO. He's responsible. Like you mentioned, Tony, we don't have a special teams coach. That's his decision, okay? Darwin Barlow looked great. I guess he's been on a milk cart because I had to go look up who's number 22. I'm like, well, that was a heck of a run because we found out for one reason or another, Marshawn Lloyd was in street clothes to begin the game, and he wasn't playing. But I'm like, my God, who's number 22? Is that Amarian Peterson? No, it's Darwin Barlow. Where has Darwin Barlow been all year? Come on, you got a stable running backs.
Hey, Rick, let's take a look at this on here.
Yeah.
Rick, let's take a look at this on here. We've got Ari Wasserman from The Athletic. Ari Wasserman, probably one of the best college football writers out there.
I agree.
Says, I know I'm the king of hyperbole. It's a flaw. I'm working on it. That said, USC may have the worst defense I've ever seen.
Yes, I agree.
And then he followed it up by saying, when the ball is snapped, he follows it up by saying, when the ball is snapped, it feels like the entire defense is going backwards, and nobody is even in position to touch the ball carrier until he's at least 5 yards downfield. It's soft. They can't tackle. Players are out of position. It is downright awful.
And
that's from Ari Wasserman.
It's an avalanche. He's absolutely right. It's like we're on our heels. We're running backwards. We can't get pushed. And with that comes mistakes, comes penalties, and it just snowballs over the period of the time in the game, much less the season. And today it culminated. It was bad. The crowd was into this game. We were willing USC. We were on our feet. We were supporting.
We sold out.
It was a sellout. Again, a national stage, and you went 0 for 4. 0 for 4 to make a statement this season. I'm sorry. That is not championship football. Changes have to be made because we are not going to win a game in November. We are going to lose to Oregon, and UCLA is going to punch us in the mouth and take our lunch. Plain and simple. And, yeah, kind of like I was talking to a few people around our seats. Am I going to see you at the UCLA game? And he says, yeah, I'm a glutton for punishment. And so am I, because that's my job. I'm a Trojan. I'm a season ticket holder. I'm going to support them. but I'm going to voice my opinion because I know what I saw. And Lincoln Riley, you don't need to tell me what I didn't see. You don't have to give me excuses. You are NATO. I called for the NATO summit. You are no action. You are talk only. Step up and be accountable and make changes for the betterment of the Trojan family. Yeah.
All right, let's look at some more. We got some super chats from folks. First of all, Adam, thank you for the super chat. Adam says, Riley's a disgrace. Horrible defenses at OU and now SC. My blood pressure went through the roof watching this nonsense. Riley's an OC, not an HC. Adam, I agree with you. We all have bad blood pressure from this. The defense at USC has been unspeakable.
I've never seen it this bad. Never.
It wasn't as bad under Hackett. It wasn't as bad under Helton. I mean, this is just, again, I think Grinch needs to be fired tonight. And that's not an exaggeration. That's a very measured answer. I didn't say we need to throw him in a super shuttle and take him to LAX to do it on the tarmac, even though that would be poetic, but we do need to do it. And Adam, thank you for the super chat. That really helps the channel a lot. We've got Gixer Squid says, fire Grinch. I agree with you 100%. Thank you for the super chat. Trevor says, all I ask you is you remember the spring game. There was no defense. Signs were there all along. Why would a good head coach not see that? And you know, maybe they did. Quite honestly.
I'm sorry. You don't take anything from a spring game. I'm sorry. With all due respect to that comment, you don't take anything from a spring game. You can't evaluate the defense. Come on. You can't. Tony, I mean, you can't really take anything from a spring game. It's a glorified practice. You're getting reps, but you cannot measure and predict how good your defense is going to be or your offense based on a spring game. Come on, let's be realistic.
It is hard. It is hard. But, again, I think right now everybody who wants to take a pot shot at the defense and the defensive coaching, particularly. I think tonight they earned everything they want to. Every pot shot you want to take at the defense for any excuse, fair game right now.
What do you guys think about?
Hold on, we got one more real quick. House Money Production says, love from OU. Hate to see Caleb wasted. He thinks Coach Riley's a curse. I hear you.
What do you guys think about Cannon Grinch after this game and bringing back Coach O to be the DC for the last couple games?
I think the issue is you probably can't really bring in a new scheme.
That's fair.
You have your scheme, you have your play. You need to elevate somebody who is part of the organization. I mean, I guess football folks can disagree with me on that. I just, having grown up around coaches my whole life, I think that would be really hard to do for 2 games. It's not quite that plug and play. But you know what? Anything. I mean, heck, bring Ed O to just stand there and fire people up. Because the thing is literally, this is a failure, I think. And the thing is, and you guys know this when you've been in a business situation, once it's failed, and everybody knows it's failed, you have to make a change.
And Tony,
I don't think there's anybody who can say it's not failed. Sorry, go ahead, Rick.
I was going to say, Tony, you have the person in place. You have Greg Brown. He's the defensive analyst. He can take over. You have 3 losses. You don't have the Pac-12 championship to play for. You're going to a minor bowl. The season is over. Based on the expectations that were set for this season, based on Caleb Williams returning his Heisman Trophy season, it's over. So you have the infrastructure. You hired Greg Brown. Let him continue on. Jettison Alex Grinch. It'll keep interest in the games next week and against UCLA, but this is over. And we can look forward to moving to the Big Ten and talking about who's going to be the defensive coordinator. We got to shore up the recruiting class for 2024, and we move on. But the sooner you do it, the better, because this is just bad. It didn't work. It's great. I'm glad you brought Alex Grinch, and it just didn't work out. You got to admit it. It didn't work out.
And we got a couple more super chats. And guys, thank you for your super chats. They do so much to help the channel and so much to help Mark. especially Brucey, $49.99. Brucey, thank you for that. Truly. He says, thanks for your good work. Brucey, we appreciate having you. We appreciate having everybody in the audience. Thank you, Brucey. That makes a huge difference for Mark and for our whole community. Maurice says, career game against our defense. 254 rushing yards for one player is the highest in D1 all year. Yeah, this was bad, guys.
Okay, that was Dylan. Was that? Yeah. Dylan Johnson, right? Dylan Johnson, career day.
Yeah.
254 yards. That's what it was. Oh my God. Yeah. Okay. There you go.
Same as Michael Penix. And then we got a couple callers after. We got 2 super chats and a couple callers. Willie says, I think this is the first USC game I've gone to where we lost. This one stings, and Grinch needs to be fired before lunch tomorrow. I agree with you, Willie. He shouldn't even be there at the press conference. He should be gone. In fact, whoever's watching the press conference, just let me know when we've foolishly decided to let him stay. Sheldon Christie, thank you for that super chat. Thank you, Sheldon. And then we're gonna bring on Adam. Adam,
hey guys,
welcome.
Great. Thanks for having me. I'll just take a couple of minutes. I think I told you last week, I had high blood pressure. I think it's gotten worse after watching this game. I mean, really. My question is this. Firing Grinch, maybe that will help, but ultimately Riley is responsible for this team. He's responsible for the coaches. He has a history of horrible defenses at OU and USC. It's not getting better. And I don't think Riley should be the coach at USC. I mean, tell me why I'm wrong.
I think that he is an outstanding coach. I think this defense hasn't worked.
Well, I mean, isn't it his responsibility to make sure he's got a defensive coordinator and a dedication to having a good defense? I mean, at OU, he gave up, 60 to Georgia in the Rose
I don't
Bowl,
think those weren't our teams. I really don't want to dwell on 5 years of OU. I mean, we have this team right now. He was a great defense coordinator at Wazoo. So, I think the OU stuff isn't terribly relevant, but I think what is relevant is the fact that right now, this team, a change needs to be made. Now, what we don't know, and again, this comes from a lifetime of football and professional baseball coaches, is that sometimes you don't make the change till the end of the season because it won't help. I agree with you, though, Adam, that I think a change needs to be made. I personally think that it should be made right away. What do you guys think?
Well,
do you think it should be made right away?
I think if you replace Grinch, I don't know if that changes a whole lot.
No, it does. It doesn't. It probably won't change that much.
Yeah, I don't think this is just a solely Grinch problem.
It's not going to make a change.
It's also a big player problem, by the way.
Guys, one thing I would say is I think it's a culture problem. And honestly, I think Riley's responsible. I think he should be fired. I don't think he's a good coach. I don't think the culture he creates is ever going to win us a national championship. And I hate to say that, but I hope I'm wrong. But I don't think Riley's the guy for USC. But no, maybe I'm wrong. So thanks for
it's fair for you to think that.
Yeah. Well, hey,
right now everybody's opinion is fair.
All right, I appreciate it, guys, and thanks for having me on.
Thank you. Fight on, Adam. Thanks for calling in.
Fight on. Thank you.
All right. Next up, we've got JW2 joining us.
What's shaking?
JW2, welcome.
Hey, how are you this evening? So
good.
I am a Sooner. So first off, I just wanted to come in here to grieve on this dreadful Saturday with you all.
Hey, we hear you. It was not a fun one for the Sooners today either.
Yeah, man. It's to the last gentleman's point. Lincoln Riley has a habit of being found out by his opponents in a short amount of time. He's very predictable in what he does from a culture standpoint, from an offensive standpoint, and from a defensive standpoint. The longer Lincoln Riley is in the system, the further it goes downhill. He left OU because we were the only show in town and the spotlight was on him. Sir, you went to Hollywood. Do you honestly think these people are going to wait for you to abandon them when you're giving them hope and promise. I just watched his post game. We still have a lot to accomplish. We can still do this and this and this. It's the same dialogue he gave. I know we don't want to harp on it on his last day at OU. And a gentleman said
I don't want to interrupt. I don't want to dwell on OU stuff too much because that's a different channel. We have a different channel for that.
Correct.
So we're going to talk about this game tonight.
All right. So I hate to see Caleb Williams exhaust everything he has. And I hate to see him cry and weep on a national stage. God bless him. God bless USC. When USC is at the top, when OU is at the top, college football is at its peak. I don't know what Lincoln Riley's going to do. I don't think anyone does, but God bless the Trojans, man. That's all I got to say.
Oh, hey, J-Dub, thanks for calling. We're glad to have you. And by the way, it's funny. I get like these crazy Oklahoma people like online, but I have so many friends that went to Oklahoma, and they're having a bad day today. So, Boomer Sooner, hope you guys win the rest of them.
Oh, yeah, fight on.
All right. See you soon. Fight on.
Yes, sir.
All right. We've got Tim has just joined us. Tim, Tim, we got Dr. C's waiting a little bit. Why don't you give us a kind of a breakdown first, though? You were at the game. Was it as ugly as it looked?
The defense sure was very ugly looking. You just cannot give up that many rushing yards. I don't know what do you have, like 250 at least, Dylan. He was running the ball all over the place. Johnson just seemed like they're doing these toss sweeps. I mean, I was like, it was pretty rough to watch because we knew that we weren't going to stop them. When Caleb got that sack, it was, hats off to the offense. Taj Washington, game in, game out, showing up, just balling out. Love that guy.
Brendan Rice.
Yeah, Brendan Rice stepped up a couple of times as well. Really great to watch this offense play. Just loved Austin Jones just running the ball like a man possessed. He had the best game I've ever seen him in a USC uniform. So many great positive things on the offense. And here's a big surprise, so many horrible things happening on defense. USC's just got to get their big boy pants on, realize that they're going into, if they thought this game was tough, this was at home against a team that I thought they, had a chance to beat. And they do, let's face it, they did. They had a chance to beat this team if they get a couple stops. But I just watching this defense, going to go up to Oregon and probably run into a buzzsaw.
Yeah, it's gonna be ugly. I mean they just scored what 62 or whatever 64 on Cal today.
It could have been much worse. They went nice scoring only 63.
They're going to score 70 on USC next week. You watch.
Yeah, Oregon's going to go full tilt on against us. They were a little just like out of it. They gave us a few touchdowns, but yeah, next week they're going for style points.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Because it's the college football playoffs. It's Dan Lanning, and they're going to make a statement. And USC's at Autzen, and it's going to be sad. It's going to be sad to watch. We gave up 52 today to a bad Washington team. I mean, they're okay, but we should have had some stops. But our defense was atrocious. This is the worst I've seen us play. I mean, I can go back and look, but I'd have to guess we gave up at least 7 plays greater than 20 yards. And that was maybe in the first half. This is ridiculous.
It was bad. By the way, thank you to Sean. Sean points out a super chat. He says, kudos to Brucey. And again, thank you to Brucey for your super chat. We really appreciate that.
There were actually 18 plays by Washington that were 15 or more yards in that game.
Okay, yeah, there you go.
179 passing, 79 yards passing on 9 plays, and then rushing the ball 216 on 9 carries.
Yeah,
there you go.
There you go.
That's like a Halloween horror.
Yeah. No. That's just oh my God. That is ridiculous.
All right, hey, well let's take a happy moment and we got a couple more super chats here to be happy on. Adam has a question for you, Tim. And Adam, thank you for the super chat there. We really appreciate it. He says, Tim, since you were at the game, what specifically did you see as the major issues with the defense? Scheme or talent? Or both? I'll add that one.
it's probably gonna be both on that, because it's kind of strange to see. It's hard for me when you're sitting in the stands, Adam. You can't see the line play as much as you'd like to see. I'll be able to rewatch it and see, from end zone, but watching it from the side, it just seemed like we just couldn't get outside and contain that run, especially with sweep right and left. They're just guys were not rolling out where that scheme, where it's guys not fitting. I'm assuming it can't be scheme, but here's what I keep saying. It doesn't matter if the X's and O's match up and they work. If your players can't do it and you're practicing all week, it's not like you didn't know this was going to happen. Then it is on the coaching and scheme. I mean, I don't know how to say it. You can have the best scheme in the world, but if your guys can't go out there and not give up a million yards on the ground, everyone was thinking, it's great. You shut down. Well, I'm using air quotes. You shut down the passing game. But then obviously, what do you do? Then you allow them to run the ball. I did like what I saw with that cloud coverage they had with Eric Gentry, and having the linebackers there and making. The problem is Penix can fit that throw in a lot of times, but they were able to get that tip ball. Eric Gentry, that was one of the bright spots, one of the few bright spots on the defense in the entire game.
All right, thank you, Adam, for that. Hit a couple other super chats really quick.
Adam.
We've got Danny Kennedy, and then we'll bring on Dr. C. Danny Kennedy says, "I feel really sad and sorry for Caleb Williams as well as the whole team. Their talent was wasted this year." I mean, I agree with you. The defense this year wasted a generational talent. What do you guys think?
Yeah, and there was no defensive pass rush. Michael Penix was sitting back there. He could make a sandwich. He could go pour his drink. The first half, he was just picking us apart. It was sad. I mean, there was no defensive pass rush. I think we had one sack in the second half by Bear Alexander. But if you're not going to get a pass rush, and Michael Penix is going to get back there just throwing darts, and they didn't have Jade McMillan. Just think if they had Jade McMillan. They didn't. And we didn't have Marshawn Lloyd. But still, there's no excuse. How do you not have a pass rush on Michael Penix when you're at home? I don't understand it.
No.
I don't.
They could not get home with four. Yeah, they couldn't get home with four. A couple of times they brought some linebackers. I wasn't able to actually watch a lot of I was more watching the secondary, hoping, crossing fingers. But they just weren't bringing up guys, and that's bad. I'm going to watch the thing. I'm surprised Bear Alexander did not get more penetration than he did. But hey, they got one holding call, I guess, the whole night, or two. Was it two or one? I can't remember. It'll be interesting to go back and see how liberal the line play was in this game, because that's the one thing that we thought that was going to happen in this game, is that you would be able to get some penetration from Bear Alexander. But, he had a hard time getting home this game. The one time he came free was really they let him go on a screen. Other than that, it just seemed like he's just having a difficult time on the inside, and USC in general not getting pressure. But credit to them. They're running the ball on sweeps, right? Running away from Bear. They were not running right up the middle. They were running away from Bear. They're running away from the interior, strength of this defensive line. They were also able just to beat SC out there with men. There were guys out there blocking. Their blocking is great. And then on defense, the tackling. Our tackling on defense was horrible. Washington's defense on tackling was pretty damn good. So there you go. There's a difference in the game.
All right, hey, a couple more super chats we want to hit real quick. Jeremy M making fun of Lincoln Riley says just one holding call away. Yeah, it was a little more than that for sure. House Money Productions asks, is Caleb Portal the league? I think he's going to be the first round draft pick. That's where he's going. We don't even have to spend time on that one. But thank you for the contribution. We do appreciate it. Mark really appreciates it for the channel. Sheldon wants to know, who's the new DC next year? We've talked about that a lot. I don't know who it'll be. I don't know if it'll be Jim Leonard, as everybody wants. Dave Aranda might become available. I just know it won't be Alex Grinch. Guys, you want to take each 1 second on that?
It's too early to guess. I mean, we can start throwing names out there. I'll bet you it'll be a name no one even thinks. I would love to see Jim Leonard. Obviously, there's guys that might be available. You have your Dave Aranda possibly, right? That's a long shot. You got other guys. I mean, again, we can sit here and guess about who we might think it is. We're not gonna know, because except for the guys that are this year as like analysts, The other guys have jobs right now, and we're not going to know if they're going to be involved. But I'll tell you what, if he gets, there's a good chance we might have the coordinator on Monday.
I hope so. Rick, do you want to take 1 second on that?
I just think you go to Greg Brown. He's going to be the interim DC, and then you have a full, comprehensive defensive search. I mean, especially when we just got the Big Ten schedule release. You look at that schedule next year; it's ridiculous. You need to have a competent defensive coach with the quality of teams and the teams that USC is playing going into the first year of the Big Ten. When your first Big Ten team is at Michigan, all right, and you open up with LSU, and we all saw the schedule. You have to have some.
We're still not going to this 1 second thing.
Yeah, we cannot compete with that team, with this team right now in the Big Ten. It would be a laughing stock. We're a laughing stock right now in the last year of the Pac-12. I am just disgusted.
I think we get some pretty good shootouts actually because they have no offense, that's for sure. So those half of the Big Ten doesn't have an offense. So.
Tim, go ahead and then we'll bring in Dr. C.
Oh, no, I already did. I just said it.
Okay. All right. Hey guys, we got Dr. C's been waiting. Sorry about that, Dr. C. It's been it's a crazy night for the Trojan family.
Man, I don't know what I was watching. Tonight? Oh, it was horrible. We have a phenomenal offense. I mean, it's obvious, but we can make anyone look like the USC offense with this defense. I'm reading Twitter and some guy goes, whatever dirt Alex Grinch has on Lincoln Riley must be egregious, to be able to keep his job. But I was listening to Greg McElroy the other day, and he said he felt it was Riley, and because he said that the scheme that Grinch is running isn't bad. He was more talking about maybe how Riley preps the players or oversees the prep of these defenders, because he was pointing out the missed tackles, the lack of physicality, the lack of pressure. Grinch has got to go. There's got to be a new voice. And of course, it's going to have to be in-house. Do you think tomorrow morning we wake up? What do you think percentages that we wake up tomorrow and Grinch is no longer the DC?
Actually, sadly, I don't think it to be that high. There is a chance, a much higher chance than we've had in the past couple of weeks. Who was it? Who said that, Dr. C?
It was Greg McElroy from ESPN.
Well, it's kind of weird because he should know that the offensive coordinator is not coaching tackling, not coaching the defense at all. It's the position players and the. I would think if anything. Now you did hear Lincoln Riley say he was going to be more involved in the offense in the offseason, but we have, if anything. So I think that marginally this defense, especially in the front, is on the field better, but the results are worse than they were last year. The stats don't lie. Statistically, this team is worse than last year. You have seen improvement up front, that's for sure. But it's, I really thought our linebacker play would be better. Unfair to say right now because I haven't seen a lot of the linebacker play. I'm just seeing it, on a 45-degree angle watching the game. But it just doesn't seem like they're getting out there. They're getting blocked. It seems like this defense, it looks like nobody can shut a block on this defense. They get out in front. No. They should be faster. Maybe the guys are bigger and stronger, but our linebackers should be shedding these blocks and getting to that running back. And it was kind of rough to watch, knowing that every time you see that toss, the guy's going for 5 to 50 yards. I mean, it was really rough to see.
Well, hey, I understand that you got to look at the game, Tim, and look at the film and what happened, because I understand I was there too, and you can't see every little detail, but I saw what I saw. And it's not just this game. I saw what I saw against ASU, against Arizona, against Colorado, against Utah, against Notre Dame, against Cal. There is a pattern here, and we're going to see it whether you watch it live or you watch the tape. This was a culmination of errors. Okay, I think that's a total of 7 games.
So I agree with you completely in the fact that it has been happening. I think we've been watching this train wreck in slow motion all for the entire season. And yes, you can. I clearly that I think I was pretty clear in the fact that this defense is terrible, and the fact that secondary, and I want to know the who's, Rick. I want to know the players that are missing the plays. That's where you got to watch the film. It's clearly, obviously, if you're giving up 250 plus yards to a running, Washington running the ball, then clearly there's issues with this defense. I mean, anybody could see it's been the number one story since we started having trouble with players that clearly are at a lower level. When you're struggling to get teams like San Jose State off the field, it's clear that it wasn't just shuffling. They were shuffling back then because they couldn't figure it out. We had these dreams that they're just trying to get guys some playing time for later on. Turns out, as the competition got better, this team was exposed. They just cannot stop the run, and that's they had trouble all year, giving up gash plays and huge plays on the ground, and it hasn't stopped.
And it's getting worse.
Yeah, and Washington. I know Washington's a really great team, but that running back's good. But it looked like Derrick Henry was out there. We
have that effect on offense.
256, I think.
Something like that.
No, that's embarrassing.
You're going to give up some. I don't know what I'm watching.
You're going to give up some in the run game to do what they did. That's clear. They schemed to do that. That's fine. Mm-hmm. But you still don't give up. How many have total? 300. How many yards total rushing for the game do they have? You still can't. It doesn't matter if you want to stop the big pass play. That's okay. But also on 3rd and long. I'm sure, I don't know if you guys talked about it already, but a couple of big plays really cooked USC early in the first half. They had chances to either either hold them to a field goal or have them punt. But they were giving up. What was that one play? Like Dominic, it looked like Domani Jackson got just lost and turned around. And the guy was. If you lose somebody, by the way, it better not be Polk and it better not be Odunze. If you lose those guys on you don't see someone covering him, you should start running towards him. The ball's going there. He was wide open on that 3rd and long. And then it looked like Penix was wide open down the middle, and on the left side, he rolled out and threw that ball in the corner of the end zone for that touchdown. Anybody, I'm speechless. 3rd and long, they can't get off the field. They did everything right to those points, aided by some timely penalties, and they still couldn't get off the field.
It's ugly. Anything else, Dr. C?
In that play, I think that was the play where they were playing man, and I guess the corner was like confused because he saw the wide receiver I think go inside, and he was going out, and then they left him wide open. And that's the kind of stuff that I haven't yet seen defense this bad. I can't think of. Can you think of a defense that's been this poor?
No.
In college?
No Helton or no Paul Hackett defense was ever close to this bad.
This is bad. This is bad. Yeah.
Not even the defense when we had no coach and Helton had already been fired. That defense was still not this bad.
Well, last year they had all the interceptions. What happened to those? It was like an interception a game that disappeared.
Quite honest. So John Wilner's talked a lot about this. John Wilner believes that we got really lucky last year, and that those interceptions bought us extra wins.
We're probably right. We're really excited about what Bear's done. And early on, it was really great what Muhammad was doing, as well as Solomon Byrd. They were performing, but then as this team, as the offensive lines get better that we played, they're not getting to the quarterback as much. Now, granted, I'm going to give them a break here because they were dropping a lot of guys in this game. But you have to look at that previous year. You had Tuli Tuipulotu, and that guy was unblockable. And Tuli would get to the ball, and he was. This team is really missing him. He was very disruptive, extremely disruptive, and I think a lot of those interceptions and fumbles were due to his pressure. And we just the last couple of weeks, we have not got pressure. Penix was back there just sitting back. If you give a guy like that time to deal, he's gonna torch you. He did. He can make all the throws. He missed one throw the whole night.
I want to point out, by the way, Washington is the number 5 team in the country. So it's not like we did this against San Jose State. So I know there's probably some folks, particularly our Husky fans in the audience, who are like, hey, give us a little bit of credit. Bow down to Washington, dubs up. You guys are great. We don't mean to take away from Washington in that, but certainly this was ugly.
Yeah, no, both defenses
Sorry,
were tragic. Both defenses were horrible, and both offenses were phenomenal. That's exactly what this game was. I mean, realistically, USC walked away with the loss. But, you look at if Caleb doesn't take that sack and throws it away. Now, granted, here's what I'll say to anybody. Why we were in this game to begin with is because Caleb, some people are bitching about him holding the ball. The only reason why we were in this game at all is because Caleb was rolling out and making his phenomenal Superman plays throughout the game. You don't want him throwing those balls away because some of the best plays, again, that Caleb's had his whole career is when he's rolling out, breaking a tackle, and making something happen. So if he's throwing those balls away, then you're also throwing away all those opportunities that have made this offense really run when it's not running as well as it should.
Yep. All right. Hey, Dr. C, anything else?
That's it. Hey, thanks for taking my call, and fight on.
Fight on, Dr. C.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
All right, let's we got Russ Campbell. We got a couple of folks waiting. Let's hit Russ Campbell next. Fight on, Dr. C. He's the next one in line.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
All right, Russ.
Welcome.
We got a couple of folks waiting. Let's hit Russ Campbell next. Fight on, Dr. C. He's the next one in line.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, how are you guys?
Russ,
How's everyone doing?
YouTube? Good. Russ, you have your YouTube window open. Can you close that? I had to mute you there.
Okay, hold on. Yeah, I muted you guys on YouTube. Sorry about that.
There we go. Perfect. Russ, what do you think of the ugly game tonight?
Now I can't hear you guys anymore when I mute on YouTube.
What do you think of the ugly game tonight? Okay,
Russ, what you have to do is you have to mute the YouTube, but don't
or just close the YouTube.
Russ, are you on your phone or are you on a computer?
Or just close the YouTube. Okay, Russ, I'm muting Russ. Rick, I'm muting you because there's a lot of background noise. And let's bring in, we got LBC Robbie while Russ sorts his thing out. Robbie.
What's up, y'all? Oh, yeah. It reminded me of like explaining how my dad how to watch the multi-stream on YouTube TV.
Robbie, what did you think of the ugly game tonight?
Hey, I'm trying to have a little bit of a pulse about it. I'm actually, to be quite honest with all of you, they play a little better than I thought they would, especially on offense. And we can go on and on about the defense. We said it all year. Thank God Gentry was finally on the field. I mean, I know the points don't show a difference, but as Tim pointed out earlier, we've seen a lot of difference, especially coverage-wise. And as far as I mean, you can't drop wide open 4th and 1 passes on the second drive. You can't take sacks inside your own red zone at the end of the half. It's not, that's not going to win at any level or any time. I don't, care how great your offense is. And as far as the D, I found a site that actually did have the all 22 thing for the Colorado, Arizona State, and whatever, one other game. And for what I'm seeing is they attack a gap and rush that gap every play, meaning they're going for a pass rush every play. Now, I know Tim and a lot of you play defensive line. If you see sometimes they're supposed to sit there, hold their gap, and read, run, or pass. And that's when you see the space eaters and the 3 techniques that eat up those gaps. Now, if you just fire past it all the time, and then what is the thing? And what do we do? See, this defense over pursuing, taking bad angles, missing open field tackles over and over and over again. And I don't see, and like I said, that's just who they are. They're not going to learn how to tackle with 1 week's practice. They're just not going to happen. And it keeps happening. And as we all know, I agree with, I see the Grinch, kind of overall thing, but it's not a secret that a Russian can't cover their scat receiver or their H back on a wheel route. I mean, that's unreasonable, and it's an unreasonable expectation, and it just didn't work. It's an interesting concept with all the rules and everything favoring offense, and as I said, I hope y'all had the over tonight. God bless you, but I know they think that's what everyone wants to see. But when you have that, as I said, can't drop 4th and 1 passes, can't turn the ball over in your own red zone at the end of the first half, and as I said, it was a shootout. Their wide receivers are a little bit better than ours, and that was the difference.
Yeah, it was ugly.
Yeah, so am I, Tony. But I'm getting over it.
We love you anyway, though. We love you. You're our bro.
I love you guys too, Tim. Tim, you okay, buddy?
Great point, LBC. I mean, you made some really great points, and I think it was LB Live. He made the point earlier in the chat about the fact that Bear wasn't getting home, like I was saying, because he was getting doubled on every play, and that
and they're only rushing 3 half the time. So,
and that means that right, but you see, I thought with Bear though that that's gonna let someone else. They can't. Yeah, they're rushing 3 and dropping. And if you're doing that, if you're dropping 8, then how are guys open? I mean, the windows have to be smart. Granted, like Tony said, this is an insanely good offense. You got a 5th or 6th year senior. I don't know how long has Penix been around. The guy doesn't make a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, and I was a fan of his at Indiana the COVID year. I really actually was very impressed with him, and I've been impressed with Washington all year. I really have, and I just don't. As I say with Oregon and UCLA, don't don't let what you want to see cloud vindict your judgment. I threw something. Yeah, he sucks.
The thing is,
Oregon, Washington, and UCLA are pretty damn good. And
that's
as I said,
Robbie, that's just it. Tim. We fed on a lot of teams that were flawed. This Washington team is flawed. I mean, I like to give props to our offense, but this is not a great defense on their side of the ball, and we were able to move the ball, and we did. Unfortunately, at times, you can't expect your offense to be perfect. When your defense,
you're not going to score every time you have the ball. You're just not.
You're not. You can't expect them to play flawless.
Unless you're Colorado, who just scooped and scored on the 2-point.
I know. See, you okay? Tony, you're the best, man.
To get out of its offense, and that's what kind of happened. Early on, we saw what USA wanted to do. They started out again the same way, just dropping the ball off, running the ball with great regularity, and great effect as well. And then it just seems like you were either shootout, and then you just kind of knew as soon as USC that fumble at the end, you're like, oh, here come the wheels. But to credit this defense and the offense, although the off defense was giving them up touchdowns, they weren't allowing to go on. There weren't that many huge ways where they just run down the field.
No, they're slow drives.
Long 60-yard touchdowns. I thought that's what we're going to see a lot of. They were able to kind of chip up, but there were so many possessions, and they just had to stop them on 3rd down. And that, I guess, we're seeing what this defense is. Bad defenses are inconsistent. Bad defenses lack the discipline that you need to get off the field. And it's just a microcosm. This game is just a microcosm of the entire season, where they lack the discipline and the attention to details. And with a few plays, just guys doing their job, they could have got off the field tonight. Washington was helping them out too. Washington was getting timely, untimely for them, timely penalties for us, and USC still couldn't capitalize on the penalties. It was pretty frustrating to watch.
It was ugly. Anything else, Robbie?
Yeah, no, as up there, just to shadow that thought of what Tim said, and you too, Tony. I can't see how this gets better, because, as I said, since this coaching staff has arrived, as Tim pointed out, the inconsistency. This team's better at stopping a 4th and 1 than they are a 3rd and 27. I'm dead serious. It's 3rd and it's long, and they are horrible. I've never seen anything like it, and I've never seen anything like that happen so often. I've never seen a team consistently give up 3rd and 15, like consistently. It's like almost automatic, and I can't defend this anymore. I'm sorry, and I'm not a fire mid game season. It will do nothing except
I agree.
appease you people who donate money and let you taste some blood and whatever. But it's not going to help nothing. Or as far as the expectation this season, it was over last week anyway.
And Robbie, here's my standpoint about it, because I agree with you. And again, coming from a lifetime of coaches in football and in professional baseball, I know sometimes changing the coach doesn't matter, but once you hit a certain level of rock bottom, just change for change. Again, you cannot do worse than letting the other team score every single time. And we pretty much did. You can't do worse. You can't do worse than letting them score every time. And
what can I say, Tony? When you're right, you're right.
Tarot cards. We're gonna put all the plays on tarot cards and deal them out. It again, mathematically can't be worse than letting them score in every play.
Yeah,
I mean, outside that second drive that they had where they went 3 and out, which is great. I'm like, oh wow, holy shit, what's happening here? Outside that 3 and out, they pretty much did score. I mean, they were about to score when Eric Gentry did the hero play, tipped the ball, and got
Besides that, was there any other one?
No,
they scored on every other play.
Scored every other time.
He held them to a field goal, which I thought was huge. I mean, again, so the majority of the problem here was the defense. And it's hard to bitch about an offense that scored 42 points and scored on most of their drives, except for the turnover, or whatever.
Now we turn over to the red zone with the under 30 seconds left. Right?
Hey,
where I get upset,
let's wrap this up. We got to hit some super chats, but go ahead.
All right, go ahead.
So effort plays are a different story. When I'm watching and guys are making mistakes, that's fine. And I know that there's, I don't want to name names, but you have young players making bad decisions. That holding call at the end of the game, that took 6-7 points off the board. And realistically, you guys, they just need there's a lack of discipline on this team, and discipline comes down to coaching. Period.
Yeah, I just want to clarify to folks listening. It's not that it was a holding call; it's that we held. Like this was not a debatable call.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that it was a bad call. I'm saying that lack of discipline. That's my point. It wouldn't be lack of discipline if it was the referee's fault.
Yeah,
lack of discipline. I know it's a young player that made the mistake, but it's those fine things. You're playing a number 5 team in the country that you cannot make those mistakes because you're going to lose the game.
All right, let's hit some super chats.
Hey, look, those refs are horrible. They're always going to be horrible, and tonight is one of the leaders of it. But they are not the reason SC lost tonight. They not their fault at all. Those calls were legit. Yeah.
All right, let's hit some super chats real quick before we wrap up with Robbie. Just real quick, Adam's asking, do we think Carol Folt has undue influence on the program? No, I don't think that's a legitimate question.
No, not at all.
Gixer Squid quoting Caleb Williams at the press PR at the press conference. I'm gonna go home, cuddle my dogs, and watch some shows. Don't we all? Shank says Benny Wiley needs to go as well. Again, I don't know the metrics of the strength and conditioning, so I would have to defer to people who do. Gixer Squid says usually critical of special teams. Kudos tonight. Very true. I mean, the blocked punt tonight was amazing. It
worked out well. We went on 95. It worked out well. We went on a 95-yard drive, but Zachariah Branch let that ball drop. That could have been catastrophic. If you do that, fine. At least fair catch it. Don't walk away like this and have the ball like pitching wedge back up on the 1 yard line like it did, and then that's a live ball in play. That was pretty bad. I kind of questioned early on. I got it later on in the game when clock became an issue, but I was surprised they weren't letting Zachariah Branch in a game like this. I was a bit surprised they didn't allow him to return some punts, kick returns. He didn't have a lot of success, but that's the thing about kick returns. You're never going to run one back that you don't take. So,
Yep. All right, Tim, real quick, let's let Robbie get anything else in before we move on, because we got a few folks waiting I want to get to. Sorry,
we'll get to the other people. I'm sure they're a lot more entertaining and better looking than I am.
We love having you. We love having you. Part of the family.
Okay. No, it is great. No, it's absolutely great. I really just, I really love the Saturday after the game, and as bad as it's been the past 3 weeks, you guys have helped make it a lot better. And I truly appreciate that. And as far as I forgot what I was gonna. What was the one I said about Lincoln or Caleb said at the press conference or whatever? Yeah, guys, you're not going to hear anything new in these press conferences ever. They're going to say the same thing every time. We played hard. They made a few more plays than us. We're going to play better. We got to get better. We got to block better. We got to tackle better. That's all you're ever going to hear.
We don't have
The last person in that locker room, Robbie, the last person in that locker room I'm ever going to blame this season at all, whatever, is not going to be Caleb Williams. This team would be lucky. This team would be like a 500 team without Caleb Williams this year. So
worse than that, dog.
If he wants to say, I'm going to go home and have Fruit Loops and throw gummy bears at the wall, I don't care what the guy says. He's a warrior. He balls out. He leaves it all on the field. He's an emotional guy, and we're lucky to have him.
Damn straight.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks,
all right, guys. I'll be in the chat the rest of the time. Fight on, guys. I love you.
Good call,
Love
Robbie.
you too. All right, we got Sergeant Pickles and LB Live. Sergeant Pickles, friend of the show, who's on LBC's channel the other night. Sergeant Pickles, you get a bow down to Washington, and you get a dubs up. Congratulations.
Oh, I wish I could say I'd, be humble in victory, but that defense was atrocious on both sides of the ball. So I think a little humility is due for both teams tonight. But was our defense good? No. Were they good enough? Yes. And I think that's really the difference. They made, you know what I mean? It literally is a couple key plays when you really need them. And we all want to reduce the game to one play, but that strip sack on Caleb, that's a game changer, even despite the Penix interception. And, you can't say, yes, he didn't make plays, blocked punt, interception. So it wasn't one-sided in that sense. But the Huskies just made a couple key stops when they really needed to. And even down 10 with, 3 and a bit minutes left at the end, I was not comfortable saying, Huskies got this, they can make a stop, because USC could have scored in 30 seconds and had a shot at an onside kick. And who knows after that? That was not a finished game by any stretch.
Yeah, I think it was like 2:30 left in the game when SC went down 10. Yeah, absolutely. So we're kind of ripping on our team right now, but a great win by the Huskies. You guys definitely were the better team tonight. You made it just comes down to you guys made a couple plays. There were a lot of swing plays in this game, and you guys made those plays, and the better team makes the plays. And that's scoreboard doesn't lie. Kudos to you guys.
Yeah, I was right with you when they made that kick. I'm like, my brain was telling me it's not enough. A kick's not enough here. I was almost thinking, do you go for it down, 20, 30 yards out? Because Caleb was almost unstoppable. The Huskies, my keys to the game when I was talking LBC, the exact thing I hope they didn't do was you have to contain Caleb. Even if because they were shooting for the sack every single time. And I'm like, no, keep him in the pocket. He's still really darn good. He can still get rid of the ball. But keep him in the pocket, and you're limiting those extra little runs, those extra downfield plays. And that's what really killed the Huskies tonight. He made those special plays that he's completely capable of. I think if they do a good job of just sealing the edges and keeping him in the pocket, I think that it'd be a little bit more of a margin by the end. But full credit to Caleb. We've seen it. He's a Heisman winner. He's got that special stuff, and he can make magic happen.
We'll see.
I see a lot of duckies. I see a lot of duckies, kind of coming off in the comments. Oh, you guys are lucky. Oh, you're this. Oh, you're that. We're 9-0. I don't want to hear a word about it.
You're number 5 in the country.
Number 5 in the country. And you can say we've had ugly wins. We've had terrible performances. And I get it. 9-0. Beat, the Trojans down in LA. I don't care what year it is. That's not easy to do. And the Duckies had their shot at us and couldn't get it done. So I really want to hear them pipe down. If they can make it to the championship game and we have our rematch, it'll be a great one. I'll be looking forward to it. But, all the people dogging on a 9-0 team, that's, everything's right in front of us. Yeah.
Undefeated.
Sometimes it's not about winning pretty. It's just about winning.
Well, hey, give Dub some scratches for us.
Absolutely, guys. Love chatting with you, and it'll still be a fun rest of the season.
L will be. Hey, I have to take my medicine to text some of my Washington friends in a little bit anyway.
Yeah,
So.
Alex Grinch is now 0-4 against the Doggies. So put that one in the book.
We will put that in the books. Bow down to Washington.
All right, guys, take it easy. Go Dogs.
Take it easy. Go Dogs. All right, we got LV Live up next. LV Live, welcome to the show.
What's going on, guys? Listen,
hey man, sorry about the wait.
It's all right, man. Fight on from the East Coast. It's 12:41 out here, man, on the East Coast.
It is.
Hey, listen, man. To me, Caleb Williams is still the best player in the nation.
100%. I agree.
What we saw tonight, he's miles better than Michael Penix. Michael Penix is a good passer. He's nice, but he's miles better than Michael Penix. I mean, I've watched a lot of quarterbacks. Drake May, I've seen him. Of course, J.J. McCarthy, I've seen all those guys. There's no one better than Caleb Williams in the nation. Period. End of story. He was putting on a show tonight. This looked like Caleb last year. He picked the perfect time to really put these guys on their back to really help us get to the mountaintop, right? We were unable to do it. The reality is this. Grinch should be fired Monday. He should be fired today. I mean, listen, there were plays, Tim and Tony, where now, once again, if the first down is like 10 yards, why are guys back 15 yards? Why are they back that far? Why are they so concerned about getting beat deep? You're giving up the slant plays. They're gashing you for 7. You're getting 7-8 yards of play.
Wait, LV, not just giving up that play. They're doing a little drag. They were doing that throw. If you can you cover Odunze? Don't leave him on third down wide open over the middle. I mean, it was a couple. I was just shaking my head like, tighten up that zone. Right. I think it was the right idea to go to zone without a doubt. But you can tighten that thing up, and it was just so loose. If you're dropping 7-8 guys, if you're only rushing 3-4 guys, you should be able to at least on third down play the ball. Do not concede a first down.
Tim, on third down when it's like 3rd and 7. So you were there. See when we watch it on television, they're showing you the line of game. So if it's like 3rd and 7, Tim, they're back like 15 yards. I'm like, yo, is anybody telling them that the first down's right there? It's just dip and dunk. Like it was too easy. It was like Swiss cheese. Now I'm just sitting there watching. And then that one play when they stop Caleb and they get him down at the 5. That run play that he ran about 60 yards, Tim, if you would have seen that gap, they had 3 down linemen. They didn't even shift down. It's nobody on the edge. Nobody. That's not a play. Listen, that's not a player's thing. That's a scheme thing. Those guys are being told what to do. Now, once again, you guys are there in the stadium, which I wish I was there. But what the television gives us, it gives us opportunity to really see the cut scenes. So you're seeing players. You're seeing Kalen Bullock. You're seeing talking to Damani Jackson. You're seeing these guys are still confused. They're like, yo, you should have went that way. You should have. They're still confused. They still don't know where they're going. That's a scheme thing. That's a coach thing. Everybody in the chat, I'm hearing a whole bunch of people. Fire Lincoln Riley. Listen, man. He scored 42 points. Last week, he scored 50. Like, he just has to kind of say to himself, all right, listen, Grinch, we were friends or whatever. Like, this is business. It's nothing personal. You get him a defensive coordinator in here. Caleb going fine. Whoever he gets a quarterback next year, they're putting up 35 to 40 points a game. Just let's book it. If he gets a defensive coordinator in here that can hold somebody to 17 points, SC will be in the national championships. I mean, that period and a story. If we had a defensive coordinator this year,
especially if we're playing against the Big Ten West,
we would be a top 5 team, top 4 team easily with this.
I think we just won a national championship.
I'm just being honest. This
guy.
guy
I'm with you. I'm with you. So here's so silver lining. Tonight hurt. This season hurt, and the hurting's not done, LV. We're still gonna take some lumps this year. But here's what you do with Rays. Let all the hate, let all that outside noise come in. There's some people from fan bases in this chat right now that really should be, they should also be quiet right now as well. But what I will tell you is Lincoln Riley and his offense isn't going to stop.
How'd that work for you guys today, Oklahoma fans who are being weird in the chat?
Oh, they played today? How'd they do?
We'd have to check. Okay? We'd have to check. As far as I know, Oklahoma State is the now permanent state champion of Oklahoma.
Wait, Oklahoma lost today? Oh, who knew? Say, hey, go back to the point. The offense is still going to be disgusting. People are forgetting. Deuce let's say it, he had a rough game today. Okay, but he's back next year, and he's going to be a true sophomore, and he's going to be nasty, right? We haven't even seen Lemon out there, Makai Lemon. This guy is an absolute beast. And then you have Miller Moss coming in next year, Malachi Nelson. Those guys are going to be nice and seasoned, ready to go. And then in the wings, you have Julian Lewis. We're going to continue to roll the offense. As bad as this was this year, you guys would imagine our defense if it was just 20% better. If it wasn't historically bad. Because if you go back, I think Tony said it. Look back at those Helton defenses. Look back at the Kiffin. We used to complain about the Monty Kiffin Tampa 2. They were never 101st in the country.
Right. Agreed.
But with this, now imagine
Hackett defenses were better than this.
So let's put it this way. It's rough and hard to say that a lot of the Big Ten people and some others, the Island Misfit toy teams were talking stuff. We get it, that Grinch was it, but we were stuck with him, so we were hoping for the best. Clearly, the entire season he's shown what he's made of. About 5 games ago, everybody on this channel that I know of jumped off ship. Some people jumped off ship earlier on him, just saying, no, there's no way this is happening. We're getting a new defensive coordinator. Period. The end. I mean, if it wasn't sure. I'm sure that
we hope
they probably knew. We probably knew this, and Grinch was probably told weeks ago. Hey, man, brush up that CV, get it out there. You start talking to your agent, see what we could do because this isn't working, and it sucks. No one ever. I never want to see anybody get fired. I don't. He's a family man. He's a great guy. He got some coins, so I'm not going to cry for him. He's doing very well. But it's just not, whatever it is, it's just not working, and it's time to move on. And I hope he does finish the season out, because here's what I will tell you. Yes, it can get worse, guys. Stop with it can't get worse. It would get worse if someone else is trying to call the plays, period. We can be emotional about it, get pissed off. Let's get him. He's gone. But let's see if we can I want to beat UCLA, and we have a chance to beat UCLA.
Here's my serious question, Tim. How can it be worse with someone else calling the plays?
It could be worse.
How?
That's my serious answer. This is his scheme, right? It could be worse. Who are we going to have? Brown. How many seasons, Tony, has Brown been the defensive coordinator? So, and what was the best job he had as a defensive coordinator?
Tim, I respect your opinion. You're free to have that opinion. I don't think it could be worse. I don't think random chance could be worse than this.
Look at this. So I will tell you,
just ignore those folks. It's not.
There's nothing soft about any of this. We still have the season's over, but we still have our rivals in UCLA. And if anyone here wants to lose those gutties, don't throw them a bone. Don't throw them a bone by
beat them.
At the very least, here's one thing I'll say to you, Tony. What could get worse? Stability on the team. That could get worse. Things can get really sideways. It could. Have the guy finish it out. He's gone. He's been told he's gone. Oh, we could disagree. I mean, we could disagree with this all we want. I'm just saying to you, I don't see how it's going to get better with Brown calling the plays, because it's not his scheme.
Change gets better.
I'm not saying you're wrong, Tony. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just disagreeing how you're disagreeing with me.
Okay.
At the end of the day, it's still X's and O's.
I think what it is, Tony. I think what Tim is saying.
At the end of the day, they didn't fire him in the press conference yet, so they haven't taken my advice yet.
I think what it is that when it's this late in the season, if you bring in a new guy that's a new voice and he's trying to change, because this is not his scheme. This is Grinch's scheme, and who knows? The coaches may not even agree with this scheme. They might not even know how to run it. Maybe that's why across the board the players are struggling. So if you let him go, right, Tony? If you tell him to leave. Now you bring in a new voice. This guy might have his.
I don't know that you're bringing in a new voice. I disagree. Again, I've been around professional baseball coaches being replaced my entire life.
No,
I know. Hold on. I know what it means when you replace a coach mid-season.
Right.
And I know why you do it.
Right.
And you do it primarily because you need a change. You need an energy. You need a change. You can't change the whole team.
You do it when the season's over. You do it when the season's over, right? In college, pros are different. The pro situation is different. In college, again, we can argue that you think that emotionally or whatever, it's going to get better if they have them out there. It's fine.
It can't be worse than they score every time.
Again, this is Washington. Okay, Washington's going to score on everybody as well. As though we're not going to face next week, we will too. UCLA just got the blueprint. If you think that Washington runs the ball well, wait till we watch UCLA run the ball. That's going to be scary as well.
They're better than Washington.
I'm not saying you're wrong. Okay, and actually, the silver lining and the reason why I would say get rid of Grinch is then we're probably going to lose both games. But if you have one of those analysts, if you have someone that doesn't actually have a job, then you can announce, hey, by the way, we're getting Gary Patterson, and start it's not up yet, but you start talking to the recruits and let that thing go out there for a little bit.
I'm not worried about the recruits. I'm worried about the entire program right now. I think the fact that you're not taking action is a bad action.
So Tony,
as a leader, hold on just a sec. As a leader and as a manager, you have to lead. You have to do something that is symbolic, that says to the team, that says to the community, that says to the recruits, that says to everybody, this is not okay, and we are taking an action to move forward.
So, Tony, you feel like it's to send a message to everybody that we're serious about defense, so let's just get them out of here like now.
And it can't be worse than they score every time. You just can't. Right. You can write plays on tarot cards and throw them into the wind and pick them that way, and it can't be worse than they score every time.
We aren't going to change the scheme. We're not getting different players.
I didn't say change the scheme. I didn't say change the scheme. I said you need to change the leadership.
I want to be UCLA, Tony. I want to be UCLA. You fire Grinch now, we don't win. We have almost a 0 chance of beating UCLA. That's what I will say.
You think we're going to beat them like this?
It's my opinion.
Anyway, sorry, LV. We've taken away from you. What else have you got before we still have Russ waiting? What else have you got, LV? Sorry, LV. We have hey, and like all the Trojan family, we have disagreements on how we get this program back to the winning track.
Hey, listen,
because
man,
we know that it needs to get back to the winning track.
We're passionate, man, and we're passionate about it. I'm gonna leave on this note. Hey, listen, everyone could cry, they can laugh now. They can laugh at us now and do all this stuff. But I'm telling you right now, he's gonna make a change. And when he gets a defense in here,
it's gonna be great.
The whole nation better watch out. They better watch out.
And by the way, thanks, friend of the show, Chris, our devout Bruin, who worships Dave Aranda. I believe thanks to Houston, Dave Aranda may have become slightly more available today.
Yeah. So I mean that's my say to the rest of the nation, right? I'm telling you, you're paying attention now. You're seeing him scoring 42 points, 50 last week. You think it's a joke. We get a guy in here like Aranda, we get a defense, everybody's in trouble. Georgia, everybody's in trouble because no one's going to be able to stop this offense. That's what I got to say.
Especially, LV, let me just add this. Especially if we're playing against the Big Ten West offenses.
Iowa, Wisconsin. I'm telling you, he's going to put up a 60 piece, and everyone's going to be saying it's unfair. Then they're going to say how much money we're paying players. It's going to be back on that again. I'm telling you, watch.
I'm okay with that. It's legal now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I have faith in Jen Cohen and Riley sitting down and him saying, I need you to write this check. They go to Folt. Folt says, okay, let's go. I think Riley's talked about a vertical alignment on this situation. And it's been clear for weeks now that Grinch was not returning. All right. Firing him for the last 2 games. You all have valid points. You want to make them. Again, I want to beat UCLA, period. And that's the only reason why I'm saying hang on to him. Also, the second fact is I don't think that the guy that we're going to get is out of a job right now. I think that the guy we're going to get has a job right now. And that does, good, even because you can't announce. I mean, there's all kinds of mess stuff with it. Yeah, but what I will say to you is change is coming. We have the right people in place to hire. I have every faith in this administration hiring the right defensive coordinator, and they're going to bring in, if you bring the right defensive coordinator, they're going to bring in a lot of their own guys in the coaching staff. So you can see a lot of position coaches that'll be gone, and it's just a matter of time. So you get angry, get mad, get the pitchforks out. That's fine. Go ahead. You know, it's fair. Everyone should be pissed off, right?
All right,
But the fact of the matter is we're not going to get a new DC until after the season anyway.
Can we have one more thing?
I'm just gonna throw this out there.
Hold on, one more thing. LV, I want your opinion on this too.
Oh, okay, all right.
I think we need an executive decision. Jen Cohen, listen to me, please. Get those god dang towel guys off the field. That is embarrassing. It's tacky. It looks stupid. Like it makes us look bad. I guess they're what, the strength and conditioning staffers. Maybe they're fine at their job.
It's Benny Wiley's crew.
That's what they do across town, Tony. That's what they do across town. The towel waivers. We've been making fun of that shit for decades. And,
we don't want that.
Here's the thing. If you're winning and winning national championships, I don't give a shit about your towels. If you're not winning, get the towels out of here because it's damn embarrassing.
So question,
okay, do we have unanimity on this? The towels need to go.
Yes, we do. We do. If when we do bring in a new guy, question. Should we, Tim and Tony, should we clean shop defensively? Should everybody go?
Defensively, probably.
Nua, everybody, like all those guys should go. Do you guys think?
Okay, so there's a couple, there's a couple of position coaches, but here's what it comes down to, LV. It's gonna be up to the new DC. So I mean, we can. It's not like that they're gonna choose which ones. Any DC worth his salt is not gonna listen to anyone tell him who his staff's gonna be. Right. So I'd imagine unless you've shown, just to a high level that you should be retained for value and you're better than the guy he would bring in or he could replace you with, these guys are probably coaching for their job over the next. I mean, actually, no. I mean, whoever comes in has their guy and knows. You probably can't do much on for the new DC showing them, this coming week. God knows. And then also against UCLA, they're gonna bring in who they feel who they've worked with most likely. They're gonna bring in their staff, and I'm all for it.
Right.
I love that. I don't ever want to see anyone get fired. I'm not. These are human beings with whatever. But if you got to be good at your job, and if you're not good at your job, then someone's. It's the real world. It's not sports isn't special. If you're not good at your job, someone replaces you.
Well, and let's just clarify too. He'll be taken care of for life.
Right.
He's good.
Right. To me, the reason why I say that is I think we need a new voice. I think we need a new crew of guys that come in here, even to help Riley out. Just a new voice, new way of doing things for these players to say, okay, this is different here. This is how we're doing it. Everything across the board. I don't want any remnants of what was left behind. To me, clean slate. All right, I'm out of here. Fight on, guys.
LV, thanks for calling. Fight on.
I fight on.
As always, LV. Look for your call every week.
Great call.
Right,
always great to hear from you.
Right, man.
All right, hey, we got 2 quick super chats, and we're gonna bring it. We got Russ waiting here. Eddie says, I think we need to fire Grinch, not just for fan and team morale, but for Grinch as well. Stop the bleeding. Maybe his last shot. No, I mean, you guys remember, a lot of this stuff is about team and timing and stuff like that. I mean, remember when we literally tarmacked a guy because we couldn't handle it. We couldn't let him get back to campus because the situation was so bad. And today he did great things at Alabama. He's doing great things at Ole Miss. He's a great coach. A lot of times it's about timing. And the timing on this Grinch thing right now is just, we need to have a change. And I think that's okay. It's okay to say we need to have a change. Let's also, by the way, I was talking to somebody today about Jeff Levy. Let's point out that Grinch has done a good job leading young men. He's been a good leader to our team. They're just not winning. And so, he's a good guy. He's a good person. He's obviously a smart coach. It's just not working out right here at this time. And Gixxer Squid. Gixxer, thank you for the contribution. Gixxer says, we need a change at the managerial level or merely admittance thereof at a public conference in an effort to galvanize the Trojan Nation and affirm that this defensive performance is not acceptable. Gixxer, this I think we should frame. I agree with you 100% on that. What do you think, Tim? Just admitting there's a problem? Is that something that would help?
Actions speak louder than words, right? When you fire your defensive coordinator and you bring in a new defensive coordinator, I guess you can go out and talk about it. But just like I said about post-game pressers. I don't care what the coach says at the mic. I want to see the changes from 1 week to the next week. I want to see a difference. I want to see improvement. Talking about stuff is cheap. You know, grandiose actions
but isn't it even worse than not even do that?
Here's one thing. Did anyone here think that he's a go and talk shit about Grinch to the press? You don't do that in coach. It doesn't make any sense. This is a very small community. If you disrespect a defensive coordinator and you're going out there shopping around for the top names in the industry, it's not going to look good. You handle this thing with class. It didn't work out. Fans are angry. Great. You know, it doesn't matter what we think. It comes down to the end of the day is USC has had some black eyes in the past on how they've dealt with firings. We have professionals now in the house. They're going to handle things the right way. I bet you, again, I would bet that Grinch is known for a while now that he's not coming back. I would almost bet money on that.
Tim, I would bet you're right, but at the same time, I think that we look foolish by not admitting there's a problem. By Lincoln Riley going up to the press conference and being like, "Oh, we're a couple plays away."
No, but maybe you didn't hear him tonight. Maybe you didn't hear him tonight. He didn't do that. He literally didn't do that in the press conference tonight. So I mean,
talk about the problem for defense
on Monday. If he gets out on Monday and say we're so close and blah blah blah, I think I think it was on Wednesday, he pivoted away. He wouldn't even talk about Grinch. That was another clue. Ding, 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 ding. He didn't give Grinch a vote of confidence on when he was at his scrum on Wednesday. He didn't do that. So I don't know what people want. Okay, yeah. Fire him tomorrow. Hey, okay, if we get off the topic, I don't care. The guy, all I care about is that he won't be the coach next year, and that we're gonna get a quality DC because I do believe that they know what they're doing over there at Heritage Hall these days. And Jen Cohen is known for good hiring, and I'm going to be waiting for what they can do. She's good at what she does. We finally have a professional AD, just like Bone. He hired the right guys. Now you have Jen Cohen there. I have all the confidence in the world that's going to get sorted out. Sucks for Grinch. Didn't work out. Thank you for your time. We're moving on.
Again, Grinch well paid for life off this, so he doesn't get any of my sympathy. He'll have a wonderful house in Santa Barbara or whatever to cry at for the rest of his life. All right, sorry, we got Russ back. Russ, welcome to the show.
Hey, good to be here, guys. Sorry for the confusion earlier.
No worries. What'd you think of the crazy game tonight?
Yeah, I mean, there's a stat here that actually is going to make the defense even worse. We're an hour and 42 minutes into the show. I don't think anyone's brought it up yet. Yeah, we gave up 199 rushing yards that came before contact. So of the 250 and change, 199 of them, we didn't make contact with them. So how?
Probably about right.
That
is a scary statistic.
Yeah. So just a little cherry on top to how epically bad the defense was tonight.
That goes back to what I was saying to you. I was saying earlier. Nobody could get off. Nobody could shut a block. Right. So that's why you have that situation when your secondary is making the tackle. When the secondary is the first guy with a shot at making the tackle, that's what's going to happen. The line and the linebackers just could not get off a block, and it was pretty rough.
Can I give you guys a stat right now? Oregon State 155 rushing yards, Colorado -2.
No shock there.
No shock there. And yet we let Colorado run all over us.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's another thing, and I've kind of talked about this before, I'm going to keep harping on it because we don't seem to be getting any better at it. And, it's how we are in these situational moments. We keep seeming we do the wrong thing. And, I'm going to go to the two Caleb plays, the fumble at the end of the first half, and then the sack 13. I'm not going to put that on Caleb in the sense that, listen, the guy's a playmaker. He's going to run around and do amazing things.
Sometimes that happens.
Right. However, as you grow as a player and as, Lincoln's 40 now. He's not the 32-year-old wonder kid. He's kind of coming to that point where it's just like, all right, man, you gotta turn into that Bill Parcells, that Bill Belichick who really manages and micromanages these very specific moments in the game. And back when we were all kids, you didn't see 32-year-old head coaches or even 40-year-old head coaches. Once upon a time, John Gruden was like the youngest coach in the NFL at like 40 years old. These teams expected you to be able to like really have a grasp on all facets of the game. And, I feel Lincoln is sort of falling short right there. He needs to put the handcuffs on Caleb. It's 3rd and 13. Our odds of getting this aren't great. And we're in field goal range. You cannot take a big sack right now. If it's going to blow up, run forward or throw it away. Let's take the field goal. We tie it up. And then we play in overtime. You know what I mean? And it's just like, it's these little things where it's just, it's these situations. And it's, same at the half. There's a minute left in the half. If we didn't stop them, if we didn't get that big stop to start the second half, they would have scored 21 unanswered points in like 2 minutes of game time. It was ugly. So I don't know. I mean, I'm curious, like, listen, I love Lincoln Riley. This idea that we need to move on from him is foolish. I said in the chat earlier, we owe the guy $80 million anyways. It's not happening. Like, we're not firing him. No. And I don't know who you go to. I mean, you got Saban, you got Kirby, and you got Dabo. There's 3 guys that are currently coaching that have won multiple national titles. You have another guy who's not going to be coaching in for a while in Urban Meyer. It's just like, guys, Lincoln's our guy. And, look at Michigan. Michigan had an opportunity to let go of Jim Harbaugh, and now all of a sudden they're one of the best teams in the country again after letting him kind of like rewrite.
Although they still be, jury's out on that one right now.
Oh, really?
We'll see what comes in the next weeks to come.
So, Russ, I'm with you. Look, again, the people that are listening to all the Oklahoma fans and all the fans in the Pac-12 and Big Ten that want us to fire Riley, it's an absolute home run hire. He needs to get his staff right, and he's a professional. You don't get to the playoffs with that many teams, and you don't have a record like he has if you're not the right guy for the job. Again, I think he made a hiring. I think that whole Grinch thing, he rode with Grinch. Clearly, it was a mistake. It's going to be corrected. And then that will define his career. His next hire, I believe, is going to define what his career is.
Yeah. Well, and also, let's remember, too, one of the things when you hire the brilliant young coaches, you hire them for their brilliant career. Like all of us in any job, they learn and get better. I can tell you that Nick Saban, when he was a great coach at Michigan State. I used to sit at Spartan Stadium and go to the games. When I was in school, in like middle school and high school, he was great, but he was not the same Nick Saban that he developed into. Our goal in having Lincoln Riley is that we have one of the most brilliant coaches in the game, and he's going to keep getting better. I mean, our offense just put up 42 points on the number 5 team in the country. We just bulldozed through the number 5 team in the country's defense. The problem is that we let the number 5 team in the country's offense bulldoze on us.
Well, the thing also remember is we put up 32 points on. I'm more proud of putting up 32 points on Utah, a team that was holding people. That was holding people. Now, then you get elite offenses like Oregon, right, and like Washington's probably gonna do next week, and there's a whole different game plan. It's a whole different story. But that is a good defense. It is a good defense. When good defenses go up against great offenses, they're gonna put up numbers. You know what I mean? But if you look what Utah's done against a bunch of other opponents, they have held them. So this isn't smoke and mirrors. It hasn't been smoke and mirrors for all these years when you have Lincoln Riley scoring like he has, having one of the best offenses in football for years. This isn't some kind of like mirage that we're getting sold some bill of goods. This is a good coach. It's a legitimate scheme, and we're going to continue it with a better defense going forward.
Utah today, let's talk about Utah just for 1 sec. Utah today put such a generational whipping on Arizona State that Kenny Dillingham posted an apology picture with a growing bamboo plant for the symbolism. That happened. Kenny Dillingham, look at it. It's like a bamboo plant growing into the Sun Devil fork of like, sorry, my bad, we're going to grow into this. So that really happened today. So it's pretty wild. Oh, craziness. Any other thoughts on this, Russ?
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, right? I just kind of wanted to weigh in on what you guys were talking about earlier. I think the right time, if we were going to fire Grinch, the time would have been to do it after the Utah game. So we could have had another guy come in and kind of like get a week in against Cal before, if we were going to like do which I agree, there's precedent to show that if you just got to take a leap sometimes and make a change. Tim, I do agree.
It's hard to bring somebody in though. You usually have to just elevate somebody.
That's
the hard thing.
That's what I meant. Just elevate somebody, let him coach the remaining 5 games, and then we hire somebody. But now that there's only 2 games left, I think you just got to stick with Grinch at this point. I think it could potentially, I don't know. These guys are all professionals, but if you fire a guy with 2 games left, I don't know like what the next defensive coordinator might think of that.
I say this way. Tony makes, I want to be very clear. Tony makes a very valid point there. When he talked about change, sometimes that is necessary. I think here would be my 2 cents on it. I think this is earlier in the year and we were like, I don't know, let's say we were like 5-4 earlier, right? Losing to teams that we didn't squeak wins out. Then change is needed. The season's over. Let's roll. Let's go. Right. Let's do it, because I get it at that point. This one where, if we didn't have UCLA coming up in 2 weeks, I'd be like, yeah, let's do it. I'm over it. I better, you know why? It would save me having to deal with this shit every week. If he wasn't the defensive coordinator more, I wouldn't have to try to give you my 2 cents where I'm not defending him, nor am I saying fire him tomorrow. It's somewhere in between, guys, like most of life. Right. Somewhere in between is what we're looking at. And moderation, I am, just like you just said, Russ, I'm looking at the next hire. And I don't want USC to do this the wrong way. You've rode them this long, through all the years with the Sooners, and here at USC, finish it out, get your guy, and then move on. Period. That's it. Because we don't have, Greg Brown doesn't have a lot of experience, and he I don't know. It would be a shit show against UCLA, and I don't want to see that.
I mean, it's going to be a shit show against UCLA. It's going to be. So we'll see what happens. We'll see. Hey, sorry guys, my internet was cutting out. I didn't catch all of that. We are over time here, Russ. But any final thoughts?
No, that's it, guys. Thanks for having me as always. Thanks for letting me come in here and huff some copium with everyone.
We're glad to have you. Anytime.
All right, guys. Have a good night. Fight on.
Hey, guys, we may have a fabulous, exciting upset celebration next week in Eugene. Let's look to the positive. It's possible. Unlikely, but possible.
Not very likely, but anything is possible in life, right?
Anything is possible. Tim, an ugly game. You were there. Any final thoughts on this craziness?
Well, before I get there, just really quickly, shout out to the guys at Pass the Torch podcast. I was on their show this week. Awesome guys. You guys, if you haven't checked them out, or Light the Torch. Go check them out. I'm usually in their chat. And I know I'm pretty sure that if you go over there, they're going to be here. You're going to hear a lot of Fire Gridge. They've been saying Fire Gridge for as long as I can remember anybody. So those guys have been right on your guys' train for sure. I know USCJ's been on there as well. So, I mean, it's a great channel. Go check them out if you haven't already. Short story is, you guys, now we can all exhale. Any hope, any lingering tiny chance that we were going to make the championship game is gone. And you can look now towards the future. We just got our schedule the other day. They're going forward for next year. We know what's ahead of us. Look to get the right kind of guy in the spot. We know that they're going to hire. It's going to be a good hire with this offense. And then if you land an elite coach or even a good defensive coordinator, USC is going to fear nobody in the Big Ten, period. Also, keep in mind, Huskies, you guys are losing Penix and some really generational quarterbacks as well. It's going to be a complete reload over at Husky land. Oregon's losing Bo Nix. We've seen what they have behind Bo Nix as far as quarterback. So this is all going to change going forward. It's a shame what happened to Caleb. Again, my heart goes out to him. The guy is just awesome. He deserved better from this team. Any fans that say any kind of comments, if you're a Trojan fan, I mean, all the clown other fans always have shots at Caleb. He's going to have a great NFL career. The guy bleeds Cardinal and gold. He's left it out there every single game. Every time I see him, the very first touchdown when he went up against those guys and almost got crushed, but he got into the end zone. You're holding your breath in this guy in his career. Just an amazing guy, and it's just a shame that his efforts won't be rewarded, because he said his Heisman Trophy last year's ceremony, he was bummed. Literally, you could see his face. Yes, he was getting a trophy, but he wasn't getting a chance in the playoffs. And this guy's a competitor. That's what he wanted to do. If you aren't done venting, tomorrow at 10 a.m., you have plenty of more chances to insult me on my Grinch take. Come on in tomorrow. We'll have Matt and I will be talking. We'll be taking your phone calls here at the Voice of College Football. We're going to have, round 3 of the Trojan Family Crisis Center. That's what probably become now. It's not family therapy anymore. But come visit us tomorrow. We're going to be here. We will take the calls. It's you. It's caller driven. It's exactly what we want you guys to do. We want you to come in. You guys run the show. You want to talk about Fire and Grinch? We'll talk Fire and Grinch. You want to talk about the Oregon game? We'll talk about the Oregon game. So make sure you show up, because as far as I know, it's the only caller-driven call-in show on YouTube. We'll be here for at least an hour. So come on and check us out tomorrow, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 a.m. Eastern time. And guys, it's okay. It's year 2. We're now going to be moving into a situation where we know that the Grinch situation is finally behind us. If there wasn't any doubt 2 games ago, now you get to realize and start looking at those hot boards. You'll see them popping up everywhere. Alex Grinch, thank you for your time here, but he's gone. And Trojans, it's a big season next year, and I think we're going to the Big Ten with a marquee name on defense, which is also going to help us out with recruiting.
Sounds good. I'll tell you guys one thing that really stood out to me during this game, awful as it was, terrible as it was to watch, was I've been really sad the last couple of weeks as we played our last games against Arizona State, our last game against Stanford, and our last game against Cal. But one thing I loved about watching this one is we're going to get another shot at this team, because we're going with our Husky friends to the Big Ten. The Pac-12 and the Pac-10 and the AAWU and even the PCC before that were at their best when it was USC in the South and Washington in the North. Tonight, we had a battle between USC in the South and Washington in the North, and we blew it. But we're both going to the Big Ten together, and we're going to get these guys again. So, dogs, with your dubs up and your bow downs, the Trojans are coming back for you, and we're going to do it on our way to a Big Ten championship. Going to be a little bit of a road to get there. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for spending the time with us tonight. Please, if you get a chance, just right now, before you go anywhere, just click the like button. Makes a huge difference, and we really appreciate it. So just take a second, click that like button. But thank you for spending the night with us. We appreciate it, and we will see you guys all Wednesday night for the Pac-12 Chat Show Live, and next week right here after the Oregon game. Everybody,
and tomorrow at 10 a.m. Tomorrow at 10 a.m. as well.
Everybody fight on. Goodbye.